It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, my pretty babies, what is going on? Lee Sanders with you guys for an all-new edition, Monday night edition at that, of the RCWR show for this December 16th, 2024. What is going on with you, my pretty babies? Hey, let me know what you thought about tonight's Monday Night Raw. I got a couple of polls open right now, and I am looking at them and just quietly refreshing at my end here and there throughout the broadcast. Twitter, or now it's known as X, but I still like calling that mother Twitter at the RCWR show. We also got youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the post section and you can vote that way. We got ourselves some new World Tag Team Champions, at least on the Raw side of things, in the War Raiders. That is what's up. I'm actually very happy for those guys. You guys picked a great night to tune in to tonight's show. Of course, we're going to be talking about the results that came about from TNA Wrestling's Final Resolution pay-per-view event. Happened during the weekend. Of course, the big elephant in the room coming from out of that pay-per-view is the fact that Tessa Blanchard made her return to the promotion. You know, when it comes to all things Tessa Blanchard through the years, we have done a fantastic job in staying on top of it, keeping all of you all up to date, and giving some really good, thoughtful takes in regards to Tessa Blanchard. So you definitely want to make sure you stick around for that. Also, I will give the latest update and thoughts following up on what I had did on Live Campus Radio from last week, as I went in depth about Jay-Z being brought into these P. Diddy sexual/rape allegations. And now it kind of looks like the latest victim that came out and said, Jay-Z did something to me, right along with P. Diddy. Seems like she is scaling back a little bit. We'll give you the skinny on that one, and loads more good stuff that we got for tonight's show. Of course, you guys got any questions, wrestling or non-wrestling related questions, you guys are more than welcome to post them all throughout social media, definitely on the YouTube channel if you want to post as well. So yeah, man, I'm so excited because a couple of things. I came from out of the weekend. We did talk about Saturday night's main event. I had got a chance to check that out Sunday afternoon. And in case you guys are not aware, I actually did do a review show for Saturday night's main event. I might have not done it immediately after the special went off the air, but I did do one early Saturday afternoon. That's exclusively on the YouTube channel. At this point, I don't think I'm going to make that be available for on-demand and downloads. So I kind of like tossing a bone of exclusive content to the YouTube channel here and there, then definitely vice versa for audio listeners. So I like to kind of keep people on their toes that way. But I did talk about it at great length. At this point, I'm still waiting to find out what is going on with the rating for that premiere. I'm like very, very curious what's going on with the rating, and still no information. And I was checking periodically off and on today, all the way up until right now, and there is still no rating for Saturday night's main event. Maybe for sure tomorrow we'll know what's going on. Now that I am thinking about it, I don't even recall hearing anything for AEW Collision this past weekend. So, hey, hopefully tomorrow we'll know a thing or two. But for those curious, I had a fantastic time Saturday night hanging out with the wifey. There was a work function event that was being held. Well, it wasn't really a work function. It basically was her colleagues from work. Basically, it's a Christmas party. And this go around, they decided to do the festivities at this really cool bowling alley. Had all types of different video games you could play, all of that stuff. But my mind was on finishing up a lot of my assignments because basically I'm in final exams week, and I have been really the past 2 weeks. I've been working on various projects and all that. And over the weekend, there was a big bulk of exams I had to take and stuff I had to write out and all that. So I told wifey, I said, look, I gotta take care of some of this stuff. Like, just do they have a bar? And she's like, yeah, they got a bar. I said, okay, let me go chill at the bar. Let me have some drinks. Let me do my thing. And once I'm nice and loose, I'll come around and I'll say hello to your coworkers and all that. And I was a man of my word. I did do that. Met the friendliest bartender. Her name was Fran. She was a sweetheart. She took really good care of me, made sure I had everything I need. Yeah, just it was cool overall. So, but that was a really nice experience. Now I'm gearing up for my birthday, which is tomorrow. So, wifey was like, "Look, can I have you all to myself tomorrow? I got plenty of plans." I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like, you ain't doing nothing all day tomorrow. Like, I'm not doing anything all day tomorrow. She's like, okay, good. Just make sure, you get a good night's rest. Make sure you end the show early tonight. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Well, I'm excited, but I'm not excited. I'm excited for the birthday celebration. I'm not excited about turning a year older, right? Like, you guys can't really tell, but there is more and more gray. I'm not dying it yet. I don't think I will, honestly, but I'm getting more and more gray that's coming in my beard and all that. And so it's just kind of one of those, but it's all good. Hey, let's talk about this Monday Night Raw, man. So we are a couple of weeks away from Raw hitting Netflix over the weekend. Triple H revealing the new Raw logo, which looks sweet. I love the simplicity of it, while also it speaks large volumes from the standpoint of not only is it sleek yet simple, but I appreciate the fact that it's not a reimagined logo. You know what I mean by that? What I mean by that is sometimes you could take a logo and you can just flip that son of a bitch upside down and just do like the craziest things with it. And then you're going, like, I think the greatest example, think about how it was when Vince McMahon decided he wanted to put his hands on NXT. Logo had changed, all of that. Remember that whole psychedelic acid LSD trip of a logo that it was not too long ago? And many of us were kind of looking at that logo going, whoa, that kind of screams pulp culture. That kind of screams a little bit 80s, 90s, even kind of gives you a generational vibe as far as what type of a target audience maybe they're trying to go for here. There's just so many things that was going on with that. But with this new Raw logo, sleek, very simple, pretty bold at the same time. And I love the incorporation of Netflix as well. So I'm excited for that. It looks like coming up this Wednesday at 2 p.m., all throughout WWE social media accounts, they are going to be having a Raw to Netflix kickoff show. They've got Logan Paul, he'll be in the house, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, just to name a few. Michael Cole will be there, of course. I'm looking forward to that. I will actually be around Wednesday afternoon. And since they will be syndicating that all throughout multiple outlets, I don't know how many of you guys remember, but it was earlier this year. I think it might have had something to do with a Saudi show if not a Saudi show, it was a out of country show that WWE was doing. It was a kickoff. And I remember we were actually right here. Not only did we stream the audio, but we streamed the visual as well. And that was a nice, good, nice little get together. It was a good get together that we had did. And I know a lot of you guys had appreciated that. So the fact that WWE is going to be doing this again, I'll come on Wednesday. So if you guys are around, because I know some of you guys, you still may have classes or you may be at work, but if you have your phone or your tablet device handy and you want to be able to, watch and maybe at the same time, see how I'm reacting to some of the stuff, and we can kind of go back and forth that way. I'll be around Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern is when that's going to be kicking off. So make sure you put that down on your calendar there, your little notepad, whatever you got to do, man. Whatever you got to do, make sure you hook yourself up. So we got that coming up a couple of weeks away from Raw on Netflix. We saw some advancements in the women's, what is it? The women's Intercontinental Championship tournament there, as we're pretty close to hitting the semifinals there. Here's your update as far as the new brackets go. So as you all know, we've got Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. They've advanced to the semifinals. Joining them this week, we had the triple threat match on the Raw side of things. The beautiful, the lovely Kayden Carter, who went up against Raquel Rodriguez and Zoey Stark in a triple threat. Of that, Zoey Stark advanced to the semifinals. So the way this is looking right now, of course, Zoey Stark is going to be waiting for the winner of Natalia versus Kari Sane and Alba Fire and that respected triple threat. Whoever wins that will advance to face Zoey Stark in the semifinals. Also, how about that Zoey Stark? I didn't think she was going to win. Honestly, did not think she was going to win. I thought by looking at Stark, Rodriguez, Carter, I was under the impression that Rodriguez was maybe going to be the one to advance. It's weird because on the one hand, I was expecting a little bit of Judgment Day play going on at ringside there. I was expecting for maybe Liv Morgan to make her presence felt, kind of do a little something. And also at the same time, maybe this would somehow force Kayden Carter to go, okay, I know part of the reason why, a large part of the reason why I lost and how I came so close, because there was enough that WWE laid the foundation for tonight, especially with Kayden Carter alone. They had stressed the fact that this was Kayden Carter's first real opportunity on the main roster to pursue singles action, to pursue a singles career. And their whole thing on commentary was, what better way for things to really start off for her than to be involved in this tournament and everything. So is she somebody that I was personally picturing winning the whole thing? No. But if you wanted to make that argument of, oh, hey, look at what's going on here. Hey, this girl possibly is going to be advancing to the semifinal. I could, under the right circumstances, buy into that. But if you wanted to play a narrative where, hey, this person came so close and out of the gate, yeah, you had all this little interference that was constantly going on. This is pretty much what cost them. I'm a little bit surprised WWE didn't go more into that direction. I don't know how you all personally feel about that. I'm just turning off notifications here because last thing I need is another notification that you guys can hear and I can hear. Y'all were able to hear that because my phone was connected to the mixer, but not anymore. So I thought for sure they were going to go in that direction. Little bit surprised at that. Y'all got to forgive me because I've been a quiet Kayden Carter fan for a couple of years now, and I see so much potential in this woman. And after seeing what went down with Chelsea Green over the weekend, there's a large part of me that's going, well, look, if with Chelsea Green and look, for those of you that checked out my Saturday night main event post show, y'all know in regards to Chelsea Green. I said, look, this is a great mid-card, semi-upper mid-card championship to have. And with Chelsea Green being the right person in the right place, hey, maybe you could eventually go in a scenario where, maybe somewhere down the road, okay, this person is maybe going to take Chelsea on for the title, or hey, how about this person over here is going to end up taking her on? Like, there's so many possibilities that you can do here. Of course, with this Intercontinental Women's Championship, you would like to assume no brainer, right? Well, not so fast. Stranger things have happened, but you would assume that this Intercontinental Championship for the women is something that is going to be exclusive to the Raw brand, unless we get ready to come up to the draft and we kind of see something similar like what had went down last time, and we see championships that cross paths and all that other good stuff. So who knows? But this triple threat match that we got tonight, pretty solid effort by all the girls. I will admit I was paying attention there. Raquel Rodriguez, some spots in there was a little rough for my personal liking, but I thought overall the girls the girls did pretty good. But Zoey Stark and that C4 finisher, I have serious problems with that finisher. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I love the concept of it. I think it is a kick-ass move when it's well executed. And that all has to do with who your opponent is. It also has to do with, hey, how's that upper body of yours doing? And look, Zoey Stark, from what all I have been able to see of her and her career, I haven't followed extensively before she came to the WWE, but I knew enough about her that she definitely made my head turn. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What's she doing now? Oh, she's facing who? So I was keeping little tabs like that way before she came into the WWE. But Zoey Stark has always been a fitness freak, without a doubt. But I don't know, man. That C4, I do know. I just got to spit it out. I think she might need to switch it up and look for something else, because she seemed like she was struggling big time there with that C4. And you would think, oh, well, it's because she did it on Raquel Rodriguez. So no, she was struggling to do that move on Kayden Carter. And look, when you're struggling like that, you're going to have to do a couple of things there. Either you're going to have to work on your upper body a little more and, put on some more muscle mass, put on some more weight, and, build up that way so that you can, execute it, better. Or it's going to have to be a case where, if you're not already communicating extensively with your opponent about, hey, here's this move, like, here's what you need to do exactly, here's how we're going to pull this off, and you're rehearsing it beforehand, right? The choreography, you're getting all of that down beforehand. And then just ultimately, well, if you've already done steps 1 and 2 and you're still struggling to do a move like that C4, then ultimately you just gonna have to go, yeah, I need a new finisher. So I would hate to see her get rid of that finisher, because I think for her it kicks ass. It's her calling card. When she does it, it's very rare these days when I look at my wrestling across all the promotions, and there's only like a handful of people where I go, damn, that move is good. When I see them, I go, that's their calling card. Like, one of the first things to pop up in my head and everything. So, for example, Drew McIntyre, that Claymore kick. That is very distinct. That is very unique. That is a one of a kind. If you want to go with CM Punk and the GTS, or if you want to go with, back in the day, Goldberg and Edge when it came to the spears, right? Undertaker with the Tombstone Pile Driver, Jake Roberts with the DDT. Chris Jericho with the walls of Jericho or walls of Judas, whatever he wants to call it now, right? And there's just certain moves where you go, that's their calling cards. One of the first things you think about. And Zoey Stark is definitely she's come along as an overall performer. That move, though, it's good, but might be time to switch it up. Might be time to switch it up. We'll see. We'll see. C4, that Z360. She gotta switch it up there. I personally think. Meanwhile, saw a really good back and forth to open up Monday Night Raw between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I was wondering what was going to go on here, but I had the thought in my head, okay, yeah, I get it. CM Punk is going to be responding to Seth Rollins' butthurt comments from last week. Yeah, okay. All right, let's see how this pans out. And sure enough, yeah, it went down exactly how I thought it was going to go down. Great reactions there. Great ovations for CM Punk. I love this. I love this. I mean, cheap pop, just all the way around. Nothing but love. CM Punk telling Boston that he is feeling a little low and is in a bit of a bad mood because it was a couple of weeks ago when he was face to face with Rollins. He told him that he doesn't think about him at all, which had me howling with delight. I told you guys that last week on the post show. I died with that. But that he is mad because Seth is right and that it's only a matter of time before they lock up in the ring. He's also upset because something he enjoys doing seems like it's always being overshadowed every time. And that's the fact that he's getting sick and tired of seeing Seth Rollins come out there with his Liberace outfits. And CM Punk, I appreciated the Elton John and that movie reference he made, but here's the thing. That is going to go over so many people's heads. And when he said that, I actually rewinded it back because I'm going, okay, is the majority of the crowd really going to get this? And that crowd was kind of dead there, right? It was kind of lost in the wind. And uh when you give outdated references like that, unless it is mainstream, it connects very well with today's culture. From my personal experience, some of those outdated references are just that. It's outdated. You got to go into the bag and but look, if you mean for jokes like that to be within our target audience, those of us that are in our mid to late 30s and up, okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna appreciate that, without a doubt. I mean, it was good. It's just if you want it to really resonate with the majority audience, yeah, you gotta come up with something better. Kind of reminds me, just a quick sidebar, and don't worry, I haven't forgotten about CM Punk and Rollins, but it reminds me, I had this presentation in my plant science class over the weekend. And actually, no. I apologize. No, this past weekend was plant science exam. So the weekend before, we had to do presentations in front of the class, and I had picked cannabis for my paper, and so I did the presentation and everything, and I knew I was definitely in a classroom full of cannabis smokers, cannabis users. I knew that for a fact. But there was a part in my presentation where I had referenced a 1930s movie that was responsible for causing a whole bunch of uproar with cannabis. And basically this had people that was already skeptical about it, right? They're already on the fence about it. This had them going, "Oh hell no, this is evil. This is devil's magic and all kinds of weird crap." And so I said to the class, marinate on this movie and get back to me by the end of the presentation. Let me know what movie it is. Nobody knew what the hell I was talking about, except my professor, who is like in his 70s. And one other student, a much older student, she's in her, I think she's in her 60s. Like they were the only two that knew. So it was kind of like, right. So in that instance of seeing CM Punk and the whole Liberace, like most people ain't gonna know Liberace, and then you say Elton John. I guess you could technically say he should be mainstream, right? Because there was a movie that came out about him within the past 3 years, right? But yeah, it is what it is. I know I appreciated it though. He did a damn good spot on impression of Seth Rollins, though. I laughed my ass off at that impression, man. That was some damn good stuff. He did that eerily too damn good. Too damn good. That almost has me wanting to see CM Punk come out in the coming weeks, put a Seth Rollins wig on, put some big ass boots on, put some Liberace flamboyant colors on there, and just come out cackling the whole time. I would love to personally see that, but we'll see what happens there. Rollins eventually comes out. We know Seth Rollins means business, fam, because when Rollins comes out, he's usually shucking and jiving and all that good stuff. Not this go round. Rollins with a straight face told the world, because Seth came out straight face. And boy, was that good. He said he's not there to talk about the past. He's looking towards the future. And that he'd love to pretty much settle things right there in the middle of the ring. But he also touched upon the fact that he is the bad guy 100% because there is no such thing as a bad student, just bad teacher. So taking a little bit of a dig there at CM Punk. Seth Rollins is CM Punk's failure. Think about that for a second. So you're going back to that 16-year-old Seth Rollins that wanted to get some training by CM Punk, and yet CM Punk passed for whatever his, respected reasons are, but he passed. So CM Punk coming right back. Okay, you want to keep interrupting me and all that. Well, you know what? If you're ready, I can give you that wrestling lesson that you asked for so many years ago for free. Yeah, that's what CM Punk was saying here. I can give it to you. Following up, last guy who asked CM Punk to fill shoes was Drew McIntyre. So Seth needs to ask himself, is he tougher than Drew McIntyre? I just love seeing all of this play out because we had a lot of egging on by CM Punk, who was trying to have Rollins come out. And Rollins would eventually come out, but he was up in the crowd section. Now that I'm thinking about it, he didn't actually come out with a straight face. Now that I'm thinking about it a lot more, he was actually in the crowd. And he was heard on the house speakers there. That's when he finally started talking trash. It was nice back and forth between both guys. Eventually, they started beating the crap out of each other. We saw officials break it up. Adam Pearce getting into the face of Rollins later on, saying to him, "What's going on with you?" Rollins going, "Look, you know what I want. Book the damn match already. Let's make this sumbitch happen." Pierce is like, if you guys would give me a damn second, I could look into things. So we find out later on in the night that coming up on the Raw January premiere, we will be seeing Seth Rollins, CM Punk one-on-one. That is just epic huge. I love the fact that not only is this Raw on Netflix premiere, like so much is being put into this bad boy. There is a lot of hype. There's a lot of great anticipation, and as there should be. But let's not also forget about the final Raw that's going to be on the USA Network, because in regards to that, I want for as many people that check out this show on a weekly basis. I'm talking about my show, but definitely Monday Night Raw as well. I want for you guys to make a conscious effort, if you're able to do it live in person. I want you to check out the final Raw, because what has normally been the stapleton for all these years with Raw, when we go into the final week of Monday Night Raw, it's usually a best of that respected year, kind of previewing a little bit of things to come. Like, that's basically it. Or you'll get some type of a greatest hits compilation, maybe some spliced in pre-recorded stuff, and or you'll get a situation where, oh well, the Raw you're watching, for the final week of December, this was actually recorded last week. So no, from what all is being said, way it's being described right now, WWE, they are putting a lot of effort into that final Raw. They're gonna have some big names pop up on that final Raw. It's being described as and USA Network, they want this. They want to give WWE a big proper send off before they go to Netflix. So the fact that USA Network isn't just going, okay, bye, see ya, sayonara, bitch. The fact that they aren't, and they really shouldn't, because after all, they got SmackDown on the USA Network. But still, yeah, I don't blame people for going, well, look, they really shouldn't care about that, because they got SmackDown. Like, that's all that really matters. Okay, they're losing Raw, so what? Like, but no, USA Network, they want to make sure that WWE Raw gets a proper send off. So a lot of time, lot of creativity is being put into that final Raw. So definitely make sure you go out of your way to check that out. Like, to the point, I know normally when it comes to the final Raw of the calendar year, we usually just take that week off and just go, see you in 2020, whatever, like, see you next year, nice running gag. But no, looks like this is going to be a big epic finale here, which is good, because I mean, when you really stop to think about it, they've had such a long-term relationship, goes back so many decades. Yeah, I mean, really, like, I'm glad that they're going to be having the proper send off. Intercontinental Championship match: Ludwig Kaiser taking on Bron Breakker. Breakker retaining his championship successfully. This match, one of the best matches out of the entire night. I appreciate the fact that this match not only going 20 minutes there, but a lot of time to really breathe, and these men able to go in there and really tell a damn good story, beginning to end there. I loved it every minute. I loved every minute of this. My man Ludwig Kaiser, he's earning my respect week in and week out. Remember, I used to be calling this man Conan O'Brien. Thought it was interesting how that ended up trending eventually. Like, everybody started catching on, and they were calling him Conan O'Brien and all that. New Day. Now let's back up a second to Bron Breakker. Let's back up to him a second. So we had Ludwig Kaiser here. Great action between both men. Kaiser proven without a doubt, as far as 2025 goes, breakout star of the year. He definitely is making an argument. It should be him. And you know what? Under the right circumstances, I'm telling you guys this right now. If he does not eventually become a intercontinental champion, because I ultimately would love to see him with the championship and Jey Uso chasing him for that championship and eventually winning it and having a much longer reign as the IC champion. That's what I would ultimately like to see there with Jey Uso, before Jey eventually moves on and becomes a world heavyweight champion. Because I also see that happening for Jey in the future as well. If by the time we get to December 2025 and Jey Uso has still not become a world heavyweight champion, I think it's okay for us to have a serious conversation and go, what's going on here? Like, what's up? But Ludwig Kaiser is definitely on his way. Most enjoyable match of the entire night between him and Bron Breakker. So definitely check it out if you have not. Check out those DVRs already. I love seeing New Day, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston get the Miz treatment. They were trying to enter the locker room to get dressed, and Rey Mysterio comes out there to pretty much let them know access denied, because all the boys on the roster are pretty disgusted by what New Day did to Big E, how they did him. They didn't appreciate that. So New Day had to go change somewhere else. And as I said on social media, which picked up a lot of storm, I said, yo, the only thing missing from that was Miz just popping up and going, oh, hey guys, what's up? Excuse me. And going right into the locker room. And for those that don't know, I don't see how you wouldn't know, but let's just say you don't know. When Miz first started off in the WWE for many years, he was not allowed to dress in the same locker room with the boys. So he had to go run around and find broom closets. A lot of times he would use the public restroom at that arena. So just imagine you've got your ticket, go in there, you're ready to have a good time. And you're like, hey, honey, I'm gonna go use the bathroom before we get to our seats. Or, oh, that beer sure did get to me. Let me go use the bathroom. And then you see Miz dressing in that same restroom that you're using. That was the Miz for a lot of years. So that really would have been a nice, and I think only true hardcore like Miz WWE fans would have got that reference. I was quite taken back by the number of people that understood the reference that I had made there. Like seeing the continuation here of New Day not getting over well, and it's now not just a case where you've got fans feeling a certain way. They're all caught up in their feelings, but now you've got the locker room going, yeah, nah, man, like this. So, what could possibly happen with this? It seems that New Day is staying firm. Seems like they're not reneging. They're not having a second change of heart. What do we see here? What do we think is going to happen right here? Is it a case where maybe we see them the very next week or two, they double down on what they did to Big E and pretty much go, it doesn't matter what you guys think, you guys suck. I mean, when you really stop and think about it, here's the funny part about this whole New Day and how they did Big E. They're actually justified. They are actually justified. That's the funny part. I don't see how we can make them out to be villains, because everything that they said to Big E about how Big E handled them was 100% true. Even after Big E got out of the hospital and he was on the road to recovery, at any time, Big E could have popped up, chatted with them. Hey, look, I want to be a manager for you guys. I want to be in you all's corner. Let's keep big, keep New Day alive. Let's keep doing our thing. Let's go. I might not be able to wrestle right now, but that don't mean I can't cheer you guys on every single week. What's up? So Big E was good enough to do whatever desk work and all that stuff, pre-show, post-show. He's good enough to do all that, but he's not good enough to cross paths with his brothers. I mean, like, when you really take a step back and you think about it, Big E and the way he did them, it's like, oh, okay, you got this new little career that's going on. You got this new life, this new woman, and okay, obviously we're not part of that picture. We're not part of that equation. I think older fans like myself can look at that and not only appreciate that, but we can pretty much match that up to, yeah, I'm very familiar with that playbook, because I used to have a friend that was really cool with me. And then, they started hanging out over here with this little thing. And now I'm chopped liver. Now they forgot me. They ghost me. I don't exist. They don't mention my name. They don't send me a text message. They don't send me an email. They don't send me a happy birthday. They don't send me no card. They don't even say hi. They don't say shit to my black ass. I digress. We told you we keeping it real. We keeping it real. Look, it's very relatable. Is it? Is it not? It's very fucking relatable. So I love how they're handling all of that with New Day. More, please. That's all I gotta say to WWE. More, please. I need to see more. So we got that. What else happened on tonight's show? Just thinking about some more of the action here. Let me just scroll through my notes here, see what else we had. By the way, if you haven't voted yet on what you thought about tonight's WWE Raw, go vote. Head on over to X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show. Also got a poll up on youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the post section. Am I looking at this right? Only one more match to talk about. And that's basically, Miz crossed paths there with the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering. And he felt that now that the Testament got a victory over the Wyatt Six, they're done. Like, they can move on about their business and everything. Scarlett, Karrion Kross come to the scene. Karen's like, no, we're not done with them. That victory, that's just a little taste, but we're just getting started with them. Like, remember, these guys started it and we just kept reacting. Well, we're done reacting. Now we're going to play some mind games on them. That pretty much was Karrion Kross message in a nutshell. To the point, next week on Raw, Miz is going to be having a match with Dexter Lumis. And Karrion Kross would not take no for an answer. To the point, Paul Ellering stepped up and said, look, Miz, I helped you out not once, but twice. So as far as I'm concerned, you owe me. Kross telling Miz, go talk to Adam Pearce, make the match happen. So he disappears, to which I think it was Authors of Pain that asked Karrion, you think he really is going to be able to beat Dexter Lumis? And Karrion Kross is like, probably not, but we need to see just how we can play this out there and sticking it to the Wyatt Six. And then also we need to send a message to the Miz that, pretty much, whatever deal you make with the devil, like, there's no way you're going to be able to just walk away scot-free. Like, that's not how it works. So some very interesting cryptic talk there by Karrion Kross there. It's pretty much one of those deals where you're not done with me until I say that we're done. Basically one of those type of deals. Main event match of the night. I don't know why my dogs are barking. I hope you guys can't hear them. Main event match of the night, War Raiders taking on Finn Bálor and JD McDonagh. Remember, one of the running gags that we had going on here with these set of tag champions is the fact that, you guys have had these titles for all these days, but like, you've only defended them like fucking 3 times. Like, OG, but we got new tag team champions there in the War Raiders. Good main event match too. This one was about 17, 18 minutes long. We've seen so much with the War Raiders, from the silly, stupid names. I didn't personally care for the Viking costumes, but you know what? Whatever was given to these guys, they constantly stepped up to the plate. They made it work. And at the end of the day, it goes really as far back. And I can remember being right here on the show. And what was it? The Viking Experience. I believe that was their name. And I remember how everybody was just taking a massive crap on that name. I remember coming on to the post show going, yeah, look, because we saw all their stuff in NXT, and I mean, Ranton and Raven, definitely that was the tag team to watch, without a doubt. I remember being here on the show, not going on and on and on about the name. Instead, I focus more on, look, let's see if they can rise above that and let their work in the ring speak for itself. And my message to everybody was that is what we really need to be focusing on. The hell with the name. Let's focus more on the in-ring work. And it has always been consistent and consistently good. So if anything was truly an enemy for the Raiders, health. Health was always the enemy. And now that it seems like Lady Luck is finally on their side, and they're in good spirits, they're in good health and all that. It seems like now they can really, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them. For anybody that truly knows all about the trials and tribulations that's happened with the War Raiders, this was definitely a really cool, good feel moment that we had got right here. But all in all, when it's said, for the most part, you can look at the in-ring action from tonight's show and you can say, for the most part, pretty solid episode. But really, the cost of admission for this week's show, the two matches, Bron Breakker, Ludwig Kaiser, and for sure your main event match for the tag titles and everything. So let's see what you guys had to say about tonight's Raw. Let's go to X first. See what you guys are saying over there. Okay, I am seeing, and you know what? I decided to switch it up, and instead of saying terrible show, so that we can kind of get away from people that might just bomb that up, just light it up. Maybe they're like an AEW hardcore fan or whatever. I decided going forward, no, we're gonna change the phrasing of that. So now, instead of saying terrible show, now we're gonna say didn't enjoy it honestly. So here's what we got so far. 9% of you didn't enjoy tonight's Raw. Meanwhile, 36% of you said it was an average show. 55% of you said it was an awesome show. That comes via X. Appreciate you guys that voted via X. By the way, I'm reminded because I literally just saw my previous posts under this poll. Mark out moment, because I died in tears with laughter. Dominic Mysterio, when him, Liv Morgan, and Raquel were talking in the ring before Rhea Ripley appeared, and she pretty much let Liv Morgan know, hey, I've been named officially the #1 contender, so I will be getting a future shot at your championship. As far as when it's going to happen, we don't know yet. All we know right now after tonight's Raw is Rhea Ripley is officially the #1 contender for the title. Well, what was the most funniest out of that whole segment was the fact that a fan had a sign up blasting the hell out of Dom Mysterio. And the sign says, Dominic Mysterio looks like he thinks Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. And I died in laughter with that. And it was so funny because as I'm watching that segment, I'll bullshit you not, fam. As I'm eating and I'm watching that segment, guess what I was eating? I actually was eating Taco Bell. That's what made that even funnier. I was eating Taco Bell. I'm just kicking back there. I got me a little burrito, and I'm drinking some water, and I died. You cannot make that stuff up. All right, let's see what you guys did on YouTube here. See how you guys voted on YouTube. And while I got that loaded up, be sure to give the show a follow all throughout social media. Use the keywords the RCWR show. I'm now on Blue Sky. I'm not leaving X, by the way. I know a lot of people left X. Cheeky my ball. I'm going home. No, I'm doing X just so or Blue Sky. I'm doing Blue Sky just to be branching out, honestly. Just to branch out. Very early in the voting, I'm seeing on YouTube, I'm seeing below average show for that one. It really depends. I mean, if you want to pick my brain straight up, I mean, for the amount of matches that we had, and really it was all about 2 matches. I would say I'm thinking about the CM Punk stuff. Oh, yeah, by the way, that was nice how Seth Rollins crossed paths with, Drew McIntyre backstage, and it kinda seemed as though Drew McIntyre was maybe thinking he found a kindred spirit in Seth Rollins and, trying to remind, Rollins, "Hey, look at how everything had played out. Look at, how you were so obsessed there. You want to talk about obsession and look at what was going on with you and Roman Reigns and look how it was there at the end and Roman Reigns is the same guy he's always been and all these people that's been helping him, he's just going to get right back uh to obtaining the power that he once had. He's like he hasn't changed at all, and Rollins pretty much said to him, "Yeah, but you know what? You know who was right there, when it came to facing Roman Reigns? It was myself, it was Jey Uso, and it was Sammy. Those are my friends, and I respect them. You're not my friend, and I don't respect you." It's just I love seeing that exchange between them, and Rollins is like, if you'll excuse me now, I've got a little problem that I need to solve because I plan on doing something that you've never been able to do, and that's actually take out CM Punk. And Drew just kind of had this look on his face, like, Okay, lad." You just knew he's going to be coming after that ass later on in the night, and sure enough, great editing, not even editing, but great camera work that they had a few segments later on the show where we see Seth Rollins. I think he was either being interviewed or something was going on. Maybe it was after Adam Pearce. I'm not really sure, but there was something that was going on. But in the far background, you saw Drew McIntyre charging like a mofo towards Rollins. And then just out of nowhere, Sami Zayn just appears and he's just on them. And they are just going back. That was some great stuff. I love how all of that had played itself out. Some really good stuff that you had. Yeah, there were some pretty good elements that you had going on throughout the show. I would say a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being crap, 10 being awesome sauce. I would give it I'm not going to go higher. I'm not going to go any lower. I give it a 7.25, 7.25 at best. So I'm looking more forward to seeing what goes down with next week's show and go from there. Hope you guys been enjoying yourselves so far. We got loads more to talk about here. So if you guys were not aware, TNA Wrestling, they had their final resolution event. It was over the weekend. Just some quick notes as far as the in-ring action goes, some of the stuff that had played itself out. Hang on a second here, guys. Looking at a important email here, and I want to make sure I and sent. Okay, good. Sorry about that. That was actually an important email there. I actually want to make sure show that some love. But no, one point of interest. Yeah, from what I understand, the event was pretty good. I'm actually going to watch it later on this week because I totally was not even aware. See that's what it was like. One of those things. Like, wait a minute, I was so focused on Saturday night's main event. I knew Collision was on. I didn't care for Collision. All I was concerned about was checking out Saturday night's main event. So to know that, oh, by the way, there was also this TNA wrestling event. It's like, oh, really? But from that final resolution event, check this out. JDC defeated Leon Slater. Frankie Kazarian defeated Jonathan Gresham. That was your pre-show matches. Moose defeated Kushida, singles match there to retain his TNA X Division title. The Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz defeated Jake Something and PCO and Sammy Callahan. It's a 3-way tag match. Ace Austin defeated Trent Seven. Joe Hendry defeated Josh Alexander, Mike Santana, and Steve Macklin. It was a four-way dance to determine the number one contender to the TNA World Championship at Genesis. Masha Slamovich defeated Tasha Steelz. I love me some Tasha Steelz. Falls Count Anywhere match for the Knockouts title. Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy defeated the System. Tables match for the TNA World Tag Titles. And Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, defeated AJ Francis. Singles match for the TNA World Title. Jordan Grace had faced Rosemary in a singles match that ended in a no contest as, get this, Tessa Blanchard made her return, beating the crap out of Jordan Grace. And I believe she beat up Rosemary as well. The footage that I kept seeing that was circulating, she did a number there on Jordan Grace. So Tessa Blanchard is back in TNA, and this has caused quite a few folks to sound off about this online. Oh God. Oh God. That whole Miz comment that I made, I'm loving it. But no, let's get back on track here. So I would say this. My brain is in so many directions with the name Tessa Blanchard, but I'm gonna give it to you guys raw. I'll give it to you guys unfiltered. Um, I ain't gonna beat around the bush with it. First off, if you have not read the posts on social media by TNA's official accounts in regards to Tessa, that is worth a hearty laugh in itself because so many people are just the overall reactions. Why? Why did TNA bring this woman back? Like, unnecessary, totally not needed. Like, we're good. Go away. We're good. And you've got some people that legit are not even aware about all of the controversy surrounding Tessa Blanchard, as you legit have those going, why the hate? Like, well, I'm kind of confused here. Like, what's going on? Like, what am I missing here? And all that other stuff, right? So, of course, for those that need a little bit of a refresher, okay, a little refresher. So, right before the pandemic hit, Tessa Blanchard, I mean, everything she was touching in TNA, money, it was gold, like great attention, everything was good. Everything culminated in her becoming the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. That was a little bit controversial in itself, but when it's all said and done, looking back on it in retrospect, just seeing where the company was at the time, looking at it as a whole. Well, if you were eventually going to have a female be your first ever TNA World Heavyweight Champion, yeah, Tessa Blanchard, definitely that person. Definitely that person. So, right place, right time, give her that. But with one tweet, just one simple tweet by Tessa Blanchard, practically destroyed her career within hours. And I'm paraphrasing here, and I could easily go and pull up the direct tweet, and I'm not gonna do all that. I think for those that really want to go down memory lane and want to look up the archives, like all that stuff is easy to find online. I'm just going off of memory. And when you're going off of memory, it's easy to just continue to go with the flow, right? Which is what we're doing here. So I'm gonna paraphrase Tessa Blanchard put out a tweet saying something along the lines of, "Hey, women, see what happens when you support one another and respect one another, like one another. Great things can happen. Go figure." So she puts out that post. And boy, was that a bad mistake because you had Allison Kay, Chelsea Green, who at that time, I'm trying to think, I believe at that time, I think Chelsea might have been with the WWE around that time. I'm not really sure, but I know for a fact Chelsea Green had responded to that post, and they pretty much were like, I can't remember which girl had said it. Might have been Allison Kay, but someone had said, hey, you talking about, the same kind of respect and all you talking about when, watched you spit in the face of so and so, and you had called this other wrestler the N-word. And of course, the wrestler getting called the N-word, that wrestler in question was one of my sweethearts, one of my personal favorites, La Rosa Negra. And since then, Tessa Blanchard and Rosa Negra, they took a picture together. Bygones are bygones. Apologies. Like, seems like water under the bridge. That's what it seems like, water under the bridge. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, Tessa Blanchard, she owes first of all, she don't owe the fans a goddamn thing. I hate to say that to y'all, but she don't owe you all a mother. She don't owe y'all nothing. Tessa Blanchard, she has yet to issue an apology. The only apology, statement, explanation, the only thing that she owes that to is to the people that she hurt. It's to the people that she hurt. Because up until that point, as far as I'm concerned, Tessa Blanchard, if you paid to see her, whether it was a ticket, you bought her merch, or you bought a pay-per-view to check her out, she delivered for you every single time. So we're talking about stuff that was going on behind the scenes, which has nothing to do with the fans. So let's get that right. Now, for those that maybe want to jump out there and they want to say, yeah, but hold on, Lee, hold on. Once it was out there, we saw how all these women were just piling on, telling their own stories. I mean, there was even some where there was like a battle royal, and I guess something didn't quite go down the way that she wanted it, and afterwards, she just degraded, belittled, downgraded verbally to hell. She verbally assaulted the women's roster and all of that. Like it was met with such, what is wrong with this woman? It was not well received. So she has done some stuff behind the scenes that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. What I remember most about that whole tweeting incident was when Tessa Blanchard went into that respected pay-per-view to become the world heavyweight champion. And I'll never forget, post-match, she gets on a microphone and she's trying to play victim. I would encourage you guys to go out of your way and check that out to refresh your memory. But she gets on the microphone and she talks about, first it was, I've never done any of it, never da, 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 da. But then when you get to that moment there with Tessa Blanchard becoming the champion and all that, post match, she gets a microphone, and without saying that, yeah, I did and I apologize, instead she goes, I've made mistakes, I'm not perfect, rah, 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 poor me. And, it's kind of like, okay. And I remember feeling way back then, and I talked about it way back then. I said, okay, you know what? If you're going to get in front of this story, Now that your peers have gotten in front of this and they have spoken their piece and there's more strength in numbers, I don't believe for 1 second all of these people are being vindictive and they've got something, they got a bad case, right? They got it hard for you and they're not happy to see what's going on with your respective career and they want to cut you down to size, right? If there was ever a time for Tessa Blanchard to go, okay, look, here's what's up. Yeah. Let me get in front of this, right? Because if I seize this moment, if I get in front of this story, if I speak my piece, if I ask for forgiveness and really show that, hey, that wasn't a cool moment, but I'm looking to, and I know the question has been brought up before. I know a lot of people are, racist Tessa Blanchard, like I think about who she was married to. I think about some of the guys that she dated before, and she is a equal opportunities provider. I don't believe her to be racist at all. I don't. I don't. That's not me being naive. That's not me being stupid. That's not me being like, I'll give you a perfect. Let me slide this in there. Let me slide this in there. Because I think people that aren't black, they don't know this. Okay. But we gonna school our brothers and sisters that's not black. We're gonna school them right now. Okay. So we've got some members of the community that when it comes to saying that N-word, whether it's the N-word with the hard ER or it's the N-word ending with the A, and that typically is the one that you want to use when you're trying to show affection. Hey, my nigga, how you been? Like, right? That's right. Endearment, all that. I personally use that word. Of course, I'm talking about the one ending in A as in apple. I use that with my homies. I use that with, my family members. I use that with my friends, you know? And obviously these people who I use that term of endearment on, obviously they're black. But I, at my own discretion, I've used that word, that term of endearment to those who are Hispanic, to those who are Asian. I've even used it towards white friends. I have seen white people. I have seen Latins use that word towards me. I've not got offended. I've not, because I know where they're coming from, right? I know all about their character and all that other stuff. Okay. So why am I saying all of this? Because if you stop and you think for a moment how you are when you get around your friends and family, you're going to talk a certain way, especially if you're dating somebody, you've been in a relationship or marriage with somebody for a long time. Y'all pick up each other's habits. Tammy will tell you right here, the wifey, she'll tell you right here. She has used the N word that ends with the A for affection. She has used that word only behind closed doors with me. We'll be laughing and carrying on, or sometimes we'll get into a heated argument and you get her behind closed doors, you get her on the right topic and fired up, or just not even fired up, just laid back, chilling, and what may come off as a ha ha ha, she always seems so proper and she, as I always tell her, you got some black in you. Like you might be white, but you're actually black. And then with me, it's well, you may be black, you may be black Lee, but you're actually white. It's like sees my album collection and right. But we know how we are when we get around certain groups of people. And guess what? Yeah, when you're around those certain groups of people, they know you. But let's take you and put you in an environment where most people don't know you. And you think of the whole Tessa Blanchard situation where she says the N word, whether it's the N word ending in the A or she uses the hard ER. The fact that she used that word publicly and it's basically around people that she really don't mess with like that. And she's already rubbed them the wrong way. Oh, she said what? And well, I got some dirt on that bitch. And the rest is pretty much history. And I think ultimately it's a bad combination. It's a bad combination. So she really walked into it with that incident with Le Rosa Negra. Then, of course, COVID hit. She's down there in Mexico with her husband. She doesn't want to come up to the US to do tapings for the TNA shows. Her biggest fear, and I remember reporting this way back when, her biggest fear was if she were to come back to the United States because of all the restrictions. When you all remember how it was during the pandemic, there were so many restrictions, especially on travel. So much that was going on. Like we barely knew what was going on with this virus, and there was just so many restrictions that was put in place, especially for travel. We even had travel bans that were in place. Tessa was not trying to be in a situation where she was pretty much all alone by herself. Maybe she's got the access to her family here in the States, but she wasn't trying to be separated from her husband and her life in Mexico. So, she refused to do those TNA tapings. I think if that would have been any one of us, we probably would have done the same thing. TNA tried to have her send some pre-recorded footage. Like they basically were saying to her, look, if you could do us a solid and just take your phone or a tablet and cut this promo on this and talk about that, we can splice that into this episode that we got coming up on. And she didn't even want to do that. And keep in mind, her contract was coming up. Let me think. Was her contract coming up for renewal? I believe it was so long ago. I believe her contract might have been coming up for renewal, but I'm not really sure. But I do know for a fact the end result was Tessa didn't want to do the TNA tapings. Tessa didn't want to record any footage to send to them. Then TNA was like, okay, well, look, obviously you got all these issues that's going on. And like, can we just get you to come on back, drop the title so, we can try to put the title on? She didn't even want to do that. And they offered her so much money to come back into the States to at least drop the title, just come to a pay-per-view, drop the title. She didn't even want to do that. So ultimately TNA just decided, okay, you know what? You're fired. We don't need this drama. We don't need you. F this. We're so done. Yeah, I remember seeing all of that stuff when it played out in real time, and as longtime listeners will remember, I was very conflicted. I was very hurt by what all was going on here with Tessa Blanchard. There was a part of me that, and I did my own due diligence. I spoke with certain friends of the podcasting world. I spoke with certain colleagues, and I said, "Look, have you met Tessa Blanchard in person, or you know somebody that has, what's the 411? Chat me up to speed. What's going on with her? What is she really like in person?" And I have always heard the same thing. Oh, she is a sweetheart. She is very kind. She's very respectful. Really takes the time out to interact. Loves a good joke, and always same thing. Nothing but good. Nothing but good. To the point that these people were shocked that she would be involved in such controversy, all the stuff that we've highlighted so far. But now, on top of that, you look at how, okay, when it comes time to do business and try to do business the right way, wow, she's just, what the hell here? And if you wanted to make an argument, well, this woman's got a really big case of the ego, I would say to you, yeah, a generational talent. Everything just comes to her so naturally, and she makes it look effortless. And just imagine if you're being surrounded by certain people, you the man, you the shit. Like anything you want, man. It's all about you. It's all about you, baby. You the one. They came to see you. Yeah, if you have enough people that's filling your head up like that, yeah, you can get a big head real quick. So that was it for Tessa Blanchard. She was doing some stuff in CMLL. I remember when she got involved with WOW Women of Wrestling. I remember the first season of WOW Women of Wrestling that Tessa Blanchard was involved in. And I thought, wow, like this is some really good stuff. I felt that the David McLean, Beast, uh, Tessa Blanchard trio, I just thought that great combination would do the WOW brand some serious numbers, especially as far as branching out, reaching out to a new audience. Those of you that remember my weekly coverage of the Women of Wrestling promotion, I was super ecstatic when the news broke that Women of Wrestling had reached a syndication deal basically through CBS. Jenny Buzz, David McLean, they got this new deal. And they brought in AJ Lee, AJ Mendez, Brooks. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is looking okay. So we got McLean, Bus, AJ Mendez, and we got Tessa Blanchard as part. Oh, this gonna be okay, it's gonna be rocking. Then we heard some controversial stuff that went down behind the scenes in WOW Women of Wrestling. Those that I had the pleasure of speaking with that work in WOW, I knew about the stuff that was going on with Tessa Blanchard before it even made news headlines. And I'm just quietly going, what the hell? And stuff that you guys had heard, that pretty much was it in a nutshell, but there was a little bit more to that, but not my story to tell. But to hear that Tessa Blanchard was really hard on some of the women on that wild roster. Of course, there's the infamous story that's out there. Tessa Blanchard had cut a really damaging, scathing promo on one wild talent that was really close to home, that it had the other coaches and producers coming to that talent's defense. And just there was a whole string of events that just it wasn't just that alone. That pretty much was the final nail in the coffin, as they say. But there were so many more instances where, okay, yeah, we just need to be done with this woman already. I thought for sure that she would be able to make things work in Women of Wrestling, but she wasn't able to. So she did a little bit of the military and pretty much has been working the independents mainly with CMLL off and on for these past few years. So just think about that for a second. One of the last times that we saw Tessa Blanchard, she pretty much was 23 going on 24. Now we fast forward and here we are now. She's 28 going on 29. She missed some really, right. I know that there were a lot of people going, why isn't WWE like, do you really need to ask yourself? But for those that maybe didn't know the history. Now that you know the history, you can understand why WWE didn't come knocking on her door. You can understand why Tony Khan, AEW, did not go, hey, we don't care. Come on. And look, for Tony Khan, you're thinking about exactly where the women's roster was a couple of years back. Oh, man. Move over Britt Baker. Oh, that totally would have been the Tessa Blanchard show, without a shadow of doubt. So you've got these reports now that basically are saying that this was a decision made by a Anthem executive, pretty high up there. They wanted for Tessa Blanchard to be back in TNA. And the fact that they knew that this was not going to be well received by members of the TNA roster, TNA management. I mean, it just shows you, this screams so many bad things for me. I thought it was a major blow when they got rid of Scott D'Amore. All the great things I heard about Scott D'Amore, and it was like, this guy was doing nothing but good things. Quality versus quantity. Quality, Scott D'Amore was winning every single day of the week, and you give this guy the boot. It comes off so disrespectful when you, as a company, do not take the time out to gather up your executives for your wrestling promotion, to gather up your talent, and have a roundtable discussion about, look, this is what we're thinking. And here's why we're thinking what we're thinking, and possibly bringing back this talent. What say you all? Okay, we've heard you all's feedback. We want to just marinate on this for a little bit. We thank you all for your time. And we'll follow up with you guys when we think we may have made a decision, but want to maybe put it to a vote. And then at that, put it to a vote. I think they should have put it to a vote. This just really comes off as if, and if you really want to have that good working relationship, my advice to Anthem executives, if you're wondering why you're losing talents like a Jordan Grace, who ultimately, her contract is about to expire, and without a doubt, she's going to the WWE. Josh Alexander was trying to jump and test out free agency, but Anthem decided they wanted to execute a clause in his contract that would have tacked on another year, but now his joint is coming up for expiration. He pretty much is going to be a free agent the beginning of this coming calendar year. His wife, who was working in TNA all of 2024, she already put in her notice. She's getting ready to dip. Okay. Actually, no, she has dipped with Final Resolution. That was her last joint. So she has officially dipped. And all signs seem to indicate with that, well, Josh Alexander is most likely going to be testing the free agent market. So Speedball Mike Bailey, he rolled out. All accounts, it looks as though this guy is WWE bound. Stephanie Delaney, I think is her name. Forgive me if I might have messed her name up a little bit there. I know she had fusion surgery, and so she's been out for a minute there. So that pretty much takes care of her, right? I mean, you just look at everything that's happening there with and that's just for starters. There's a lot of other names that I'm missing in there for TNA that basically, okay, this person's actually left already, and this person's getting ready to go. There's so much that's going on. Part of the reason that these people are leaving is because of shit like what's going on with this huge ball of miscommunication and or lack of communication. Let me tell you something. When you're working for an employer and you're made to feel as though your opinion does not matter, when you're made to feel like you're not a valuable asset to that company, like your voice does matter, that goes a long ways to the point of, okay, yeah, you know what? I already was feeling one way, but now that I'm seeing how all of this is playing out, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go on ahead and see what else is out there. Yeah. That's why if you're TNA, you're losing people left and right and everything. To hear that Jordan Grace, and I want to hear what she has to say in her own words about this. If she ever does decide to open up about it, but if the reports are true that Jordan Grace did not even want to work with Tessa Blanchard, and Anthem pretty much was like, please, 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 can you do us this solid? And I guess since Jordan Grace is on her way out the door anyway, she's like, okay, I'll do a little job for you. Sure, what the hell? Want to try to keep the peace there, thinking about that ongoing relationship between WWE and TNA, wanting to stay face. But if it's true that she didn't even want to do the job there and work with Jordan Grace, I'm sorry, Jordan Grace didn't want to work with Tessa Blanchard. Like, I mean, that speaks volumes. I know Moose and Tommy Dreamer, they pretty much have always been consistent, yeah, their thoughts about Tessa Blanchard and everything. They've always been consistent. There's some really good jokes about them, particularly Moose. That's on social media too. I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. Look, if you're asking me straight up, and if you're that TNA fan, I say continue to support TNA Wrestling. Don't stop watching TNA Wrestling because of one individual, because you're essentially cheating yourself out of a lot of really good talents that's on that roster right now. Currently, you're cheating yourself out of seeing them perform for you every single week and at every single pay-per-view. So don't shortchange yourself that way. You feel where I'm coming from? But then also, I would say to you all, really take a step back. And there has been more heinous, disgusting WTF stuff that wrestlers have done where, yeah, you definitely do not deserve to come back to the industry. We should not be seeing you on television. For Tessa Blanchard to, say what she said to La Rosa Negra. If La Rosa Negra can be a bigger and better person, let things be water under the bridge, accepting Tessa Blanchard's apology, taking a photo with her, and see, water under the bridge. Bygones is bygones. If La Rosa Negra can let bygones be bygones, that's the thing about America as a whole. We are always forgiving when somebody makes a mistake. We are the country of forgiveness. We are the country that goes, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Let's see how you do this second go round. For crying out loud, we voted for Trump. As America as a whole, we voted for Trump to come back to the office. The guy just won for the second time in a row. Well, not in a row, but for the second time, he's graced the cover of Time magazine as Person of the Year. Now, look, no matter how you may feel about, but when you really put things into perspective about how I just laid it out with our country, we can pretty much, if we can forgive that guy to the point that we're sending him back to the White House, again, far, 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 when I'm thinking about Tessa Blanchard as a whole, like, we're really going to get all butthurt and caught up on the past and like, no, let's see what's going on with her now, right? Let's see what's going on with her now, right? She has spent almost 5 years away from mainstream television, mainstream promotions. Uh, her character, her brand, her name, it's been thrown in the mud. It's been connected with stuff that, oh, this girl is toxic. This is, stay away from her. All right. And by all accounts, when it came to CMLL, best behavior, not a peep. You won't hear one negative thing about Tessa Blanchard and her time there in CMLL. If anything, when she inked the deal with TNA, she pretty much had to drop the tag titles immediately. So, CMLL, they stay dropping them titles, man, because you're thinking about Stephanie Vaquer. She had to drop some titles too. And, CMLL, they might have to start talking to their talents and restructuring the contracts a little bit there. Now, in a new update, talking about Tessa Blanchard, there is a interview that she had gave out. Let me see if I can pull up the notes here from that. I wish I could give credit where credit is due for the interview. Did I? Yes, I actually did. I actually did take it down. So she spoke with Contra Lanola about her appearance at TNA Final Resolution and leaving CMLL. She said, "That was a tough decision for me because I have a lot of respect for CMLL and I love everything about that company. They helped me a lot in helping getting in touch with other companies. So I'm grateful for that. I am not signed with anyone, including TNA and CMLL. My eyes are now on Jordan Grace because her locker room in TNA previously had my name on it with a lot of stories I had there. I see Grace's career being in the up and up, but I feel that if I was in TNA all of the past year, she would not have had this success. That is why I wanted to return because I wanted to prove this was still my locker room." She also commented on her goal. So did y'all peep that? So she's trying to say that she's not signed with anyone, including TNA. Yet there's other reports out there that's saying otherwise. She signed a multi-year deal with TNA Wrestling. So I don't know. I think at this point, need more info there from the guys at PW Insider. Yeah, maybe from the guys at Fightful as well. Meanwhile, Blanchard also commented on her goal in coming to TNA. She made it clear that she wanted to have a singles match with Grace. Blanchard stated that she wanted to prove who was the best wrestler in the world, and she was confident that she would win, saying, quote unquote, "Right now, my goal is to get a singles match with Grace to prove who is the best wrestler in the world. I had a lot of matches against men, women, have always won multiple championships and tourneys. I have a lot of confidence in myself. Correction. I have a lot of confidence in my wrestling and that I can say I am the best in the world." So that's where we stand on that right now. So let's see what happens. As wrestling community, I would just, those of us that know all things about Tessa Blanchard, let's just all quietly take notes. Let's see how this all pans out. I mean, we've never had an issue with her in the ring. Never. We've appreciated her stuff in the ring. Let's just see how things play itself out, and hopefully she can continue to be on her best behavior and doesn't get a big old head and go ego tripping and all that. I mean, that's honestly, you want the very best. Now, whether or not she has done enough damage that, yeah, look, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. You can forget about AEW. You can forget about WWE. Not so fast. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think depending on how this goes for a year and then string it to 2, string it to 3, I think that'll tell us all we need to know, and if she legit does have a shot with the major leagues there. So to be continued. But those are my thoughts about that. By the way, I was talking about AEW earlier. So I was checking out Rampage this past Friday, as always, because I'm writing live coverage on the Full One Mania site. And at this point, there's only 2 more episodes of Rampage And then that's it for the series as it's being put into sunset. I've thought a lot about, what's going to happen as far as my tenure there with 401 Mania. I haven't been losing sleep over it. Honestly, it's just been a case where, okay, what's next? What do I want to do? Do I want to continue on with 401 Mania? And, short answer, no. I'm ready to do other stuff outside, really write what I want to write, focus more on my website, focus more on my branding. And because I got a lot of big things that's planned for 2025 and everything. And you know what? It'll be nice to have those Fridays again, even those Saturdays, because sometimes Rampage has been on a Saturday and it's like, okay, I guess I got to go do this. It'll be nice to have that option where if WWE is doing something on a Friday night or you fill in the blank, be nice to have that option to cover that event. Don't have to worry about losing 90 minutes for something that is just continuing to be on the decline, something that really isn't sizzling, popping, and all that other stuff. But I was watching Rampage and I could not believe my eyes when I saw Toni Storm. I'm going, oh, last time we saw her, she appeared at the very end of the Dynamite edition of Winter is Coming. And I thought for sure when I saw Toni Storm on my TV set for Rampage this past Friday, she was getting ready to maybe get a microphone, talk about how great it is to be back. And, she's coming after Mariah May and that championship. Like I thought for sure it was going to be a talking segment. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect to see Toni Storm in a match on Rampage. I just did a double take at that. I'm going with the failing ratings that this particular series has had. And Tony Khan just wants to continue to load this series up with star power. Head scratching, just head scratching, head scratching, head scratching. Look, I thought the match Toni Storm and Harley Cameron had was fantastic. That Harley Cameron is really coming around as an overall fantastic character first, and then when you get into the wrestling stuff, oh yeah, she knows how to right? But I mean, just as a character, she is really clicking on all cylinders. And I agree with so many people that say that's our next women's champion, no doubt. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But to waste a Toni Storm appearance on a declining show such as Rampage, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. I was very baffled by that. I was very miffed at that. I thought it was the worst utilization. Even if you were to tell me, Lee, this is what Toni Storm wanted. She wanted to be put on as much television as possible. If it means she's got to do all three shows for the next couple of weeks, that's what she. Even if you were to tell me, look, sometimes it's good to put your foot down on some things, right? It's good. Um, yeah, I never want to see anything like that happen again because that was just yeah. Even Brian Alvarez, who I got to give mad props to, because usually him and Dave Meltzer they're usually all pro AEW and all that, but as of late Alvarez has really, really been with AEW. Some things has been rubbing him off, and he's been sounding off about it. But even Brian Alvarez was like, "What the hell? Why are we wasting this Toni Storm appearance like this?" And I'll take it, and I'll go a step further. Harley Cameron, who's been on the rise there, and of all the opponents for Toni Storm's, first comeback match. Man, we just blew our load there. We could have done a proper build up there between Harley and Tony. Just don't get it. Hey, good news for good old JR Jim Ross. He recently revealed that his ankle, the one that he had like multiple surgeries on. I mean, at this point, the guy's like in the 20s when it comes to the surgeries. Basically, there was some type of cancer on his ankle and all that. Well, it's finally starting to heal. And he still has to do the bandages, the gauze, and all that stuff, but it's finally starting to heal. I'm very happy to hear that. Just this past 3 years alone, so many health issues that Jim Ross was going through, but seems like now he's finally looking at that rainbow at the end of the clouds there, right? So that's good for him. Meanwhile, Jay-Z accuser, Jay-Z accuser has come forward acknowledging inconsistencies in her allegations. Did you guys see this? It was a NBC interview that had came about, and I was talking about this initially on last week's live radio show that I did on campus. And let's see if I can pull that up for you guys. Give me a second here. And I said to you guys, hey, this is obviously, to be continued. We need more information. And obviously, Jay-Z, obviously he is upset over the allegations and all of that. But yeah, it looks like, according to Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, had gave a fiery speech Monday invoking that word multiple times in regards to the new lawsuit against his famous client. Sparrow told a roundtable of reporters at Rock Nation headquarters out in New York City that Jay-Z feels the suit makes a mockery of the justice system because of what he calls a baseless series of claims by his accuser. Remember, for those of you that are a little bit out of touch, Jay-Z and Diddy are being sued by an anonymous female accuser who claims the rappers drugged and raped her at a party following the 2000 MTV Music Awards when she was just 13 years old. Spiro says Jay-Z is also pissed that Beyonce, their child Blue Ivy, and the rest of the family has to deal with these false allegations. Furthermore, Jay's angry the suit distracts and dissuades real victims from coming forward. And Spiro doesn't blame Jay for being so upset. He says Jay has nothing to do with Diddy's federal criminal case, denying all speculation linking him to it. So, and of course, Jay-Z vehemently denied the allegations and all that. But we had the accuser, Jay-Z accuser. She came forward to NBC News acknowledging inconsistencies in her allegations. Turns out she's an Alabama woman who, Lord have mercy. Just wait to backtrack on this one. Wait to backtrack here. She called a catastrophic event and recounting what she recounted to NBC. She talked about how she remembers a limo ride to a White House, a drink that made her feel woozy, a sexual assault by rap stars that would ruin her life. She goes on to say, I have made some mistakes and recollections of that night. This woman is being identified as a Jane Doe in the lawsuit filed against Jay-Z and Diddy, told NBC News. Woman says she stands by her allegations overall. The inconsistencies in her account of the incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago do not necessarily mean the allegations are false. Among the inconsistencies, the woman said her father picked her up after the alleged sexual assault, but he says he doesn't recall that. The woman also claims she spoke to a celebrity at the after party where she said she was sexually assaulted, but that celebrity said she was not in New York at the time. And images from that event showing Jay-Z, real name Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs It turns out Sean Carter and Diddy were at different locations than the one the woman described, although their whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. This incident didn't happen, Carter told NBC News in a statement Friday, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. He added, referring to one of the woman's attorneys, Tony Busby, "True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not," or maybe he's trying to say for victory. Or I don't know what he's trying to say. "This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon." So, this Busby guy and all these other people under this firm, they said that, oh, we go through a vetting process trying to validate claims, allegations, and blah, 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 blah. We felt that this was definitely, one that, was with merit. And, obviously, we're going to make sure going forward we continue due diligence and vetting out and blah 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 blah. We're still pursuing this lawsuit. Blah 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 blah. Look, the last thing you want is Jay-Z coming after your ass, because if you got Jay-Z coming after your ass, uh, you could pretty much forget about that practice of yours. Right? That's like the last thing you want. Okay, you versus Jay-Z and, like, I don't know, like 500 of his lawyers. Like, that ain't gonna end very well for you. So if you're gonna come, you best make sure that all your bullets is lined up and it's checkmate every single time. Um, to hear that this victim, the inconsistencies, where I would be concerned as somebody that's paying attention to, if you like your law TV shows and you like watching court TV and all that, what I would be thinking about in the near future, if you're paying attention to this closely, man, if this were to go to trial, what this victim is saying, and if this lawyer of hers is able to get her to just stay with it, just if there's already holes right now in the story, just imagine if you get to trial and just how you're going to be able to really poke that son of a bitch to death and create considerable reasonable doubt. Not looking good. Not looking good. I talked about it on the campus radio show last week, and I said, if you're the NFL, and it's one of the main reasons why I kept going on and on and on about it. But for those that didn't check it out, one thing that I'm eyeing is the NFL. How are they going to address these allegations here that involve Jay-Z? Are they going to go with the norm? Now, obviously, it's innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. But you would imagine that there's probably going to be some concerned advertisers. There's probably going to maybe be some rallies of some, concerned citizens that form these little advocating groups that go, hey, look, we don't think Jay-Z should be associated with the NFL, in his current while all this is going on. We think that, Jay-Z should maybe take a leave of absence until all of this can be squashed officially. And the NFL may just go ahead and they may do that. But as I had talked about live last week, let's see what happens with the NFL and how they're going to respond to these allegations. Let's see how advertisers respond. And, if they all are pretty much going to, and by the looks of it right now, fam, it looks like last I saw, no one has gone, well, we're boycotting Jay-Z, we're keeping our distance from Jay-Z right now. Like, none of that is going on. If anything, there has just been more and more fire of separation, distance, and all that with P. Diddy Combs. So, it's like I've always said on this show. we as a society, we're so quick to react to something and most importantly, think the worst about somebody as soon as we obtain that information when, you know, we really as a society should go, well, let's wait until more definitive information to come out. I know there were so many people that jumped on the thing with Jay-Z, but even back then, I just felt, let's how much more information is going to come out about this? Let's see how this is really going to play itself out here, because this is like the first, and I even said this last week. I said this is like the first time I've ever really heard Jay-Z's name mentioned in such a negative light. Like the only other controversy that I can think of from back in the day where, it's like, damn, yeah, what's going on here that involved Jay-Z. Go back to the early days of Jay-Z. There was a girl, there was a young woman that he was trying to be a protege for. He used to have her on a lot of his songs, definitely with his Rockefeller group back in the day. Um, a million, she pretty much was on that. Can I get a, you know, can I get a, can I get it? I'm trying to think of like what clean lyric I can use right now, but all the lyrics are vulgar as I don't know what. Bounce with me, 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 bounce with me. How we gonna get around on your bus pass before I put this on your mustache? Can you afford me? But no, if I remember the story right from way back then, I mean, she had it hard for Jay-Z. Like I don't know if maybe they were close to being an item or what, but once Beyonce came into the picture and all that, like that pretty much was. And remember she made these, claims, Jay had promised me this, Jay promised me that, but it was never anything, of a sexual magnitude. It was just, hey, Jay-Z promised he was going to do all these things for me for my respected career, and uh, he didn't live up to his word and all that. Yeah, I wonder what became of her. I know she had tried to put out a couple of mixtapes. I don't think she's done maybe anything in the last 15, 20 years. I'd have to go back and check. But so that's that. Just taking one last look on social media and the wrestling feed, making sure. Oh yeah, and Trent Seven. Trent Seven is another one exiting TNA. He's another one there. But as far as other news goes, I am hearing a lot of bad things, by the way, about Craven the Hunter. I've downloaded the movie. I have not watched it yet, but let's see how it's doing in the box office real quick, because I am curious to see how it did with other movies from the weekend there. FYI, Daredevil Reborn, the new series that's coming from Disney there. It's going to be premiering in March, early March. I remember seeing that over the weekend. There's an extended trailer that's out. I got so damn excited for that. Yeah, so apparently, shout out to Jeremy Thomas over there at 41 Mania. That's my amigo. Apparently, it was a bad weekend for Craven the Hunter. It bombed extremely bad, while Moana 2 and Wicked were able to maintain their top spots. Moana sequel spent a third weekend at number one as it brought in $26.6 million, down just by about 48% from last weekend's numbers. The film now has $337.5 million domestically and $717 million worldwide. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And then the original Moana, the sequel, they reportedly cost $150 million and is continuing to push, looks like to the upwards of $400 million domestically. That's great, especially with the holidays, Christmas, and all that. I mean, it's safe to say, fam, the numbers are going to continue to just go up and up. Meanwhile, let's go to Kraven the Hunter. The the R-rated superhero film grossing just $11 million. That's below even the $15.3 million that Madam Web opened to earlier this year, and one of the lowest starts ever for a Marvel Comics adaptation, only ahead of the New Mutants, $7 million, released at the very end of the pandemic lockdowns. Howard the Duck, $5.1 million, all the way back in 1986, and Punisher Warzone. Punisher Warzone was good though, $4.3 million in 2008. So that's not good news though for Kraven the Hunter. Jeremy goes on to say Kraven was already expected to fall drastically coming into the weekend, but those expectations were in the $15 million to $20 million range. And this film did even less than that. You can cite a number of issues here. Kraven not being a household name. Well, I'm going to take that part out because Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't a household name, but many people were like, yo, like it was like an overnight sensation. A lot of people thought it was going to bomb. And then when it finally dropped, it was, wait a minute. You're like, this is, so I'm not gonna, I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. Let's see. The R rating. Well, wasn't Deadpool and Wolverine, wasn't that R rated? And that did pretty good. The negative buzz around SSU, I do remember hearing that. Yep. But the simple fact is that no one wanted to see it. Buzz for the film was incredibly low as it was bumped around the schedule when the reviews came in. They were brutal with I saw this at the time. It wasn't 15%, but I saw 11% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. To make matters worse, the word of mouth is awful. The RT audience, I guess that's retention time, audience rating is a low 73% compared to the Venom's Last Dance, 81%, and the cinema score is a lousy C. Even Madam Web scored a C plus. The bad word of mouth resulted in hefty falls from Friday through Sunday. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good. Hopefully, this will force Sony to just go, okay, look, the superhero industry stuff, like it's not our thing. We've tried, but we constantly keep losing money. It's just time for us to go in a different direction. Now, whether or not that would the end game, the result would be for them to just sell the comic stuff to Marvel Studios. That remains to be seen, but they just can't. They'll probably hold on to that Spider-Man as long and as possible, but they just seem to not be able to hit pay dirt with those other projects. And yeah, it's probably time for them to just go ahead and abandon it already. Yeah. So that is it. It is officially now my birthday, and I am going to take me some melatonin. I want to have me a drink. I'm gonna chill out, watch the news, play me some WWE Supercard. As far as your next edition of the RCWR show, maybe we'll do something this weekend. Maybe we'll for sure do something this weekend. I know that now I pretty much have this free time for like an entire month. Like I don't have to worry about classes. Like that's it. I'm done. I am on my winter break. For me, spring classes begin late January. So yeah, let's see what happens. We'll play it by ear and see what happens. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Appreciate these guys that we're working with. Shout out to Careable. Make sure you check out that app of theirs. Also, shout out to Breaking Boundaries, the new book by Robert D. Murphy that's available in paperback and Kindle. We also got a new sponsor. I'm trying to learn some more details as I got hit up about them earlier today. I got to find out more details on them. But yeah, I love working with these new sponsors that we've been able to hook up with. A lot of big things planned in 2025. Just learning what I've been able to learn from my radio operations class and what I've been able to learn from my television production class this semester. Uh, Everything just behind the scenes, particularly. I'm looking forward to playing around with a lot of those aspects and incorporating it into this podcast going into 2025. I know one of my classmates, Brandon, I got to give a shout out to him. Uh, it's cool. We became friends real quick, right down to the point. Somehow I ended up telling him about, hey, I got to figure out some new music for the podcast because some of what we've used in the past, we didn't used to get hit up with copyrights, and now we're getting hit with copyrights. And Brandon actually makes his own music. Like, I've seen him do it with my own two eyes, and he's like, just tell me, what you're thinking. Tell me what give me some words or whatever. He's like, I can come up with something for you. So I'm happy to be working with him behind the scenes. Already got a new intro, video package intro brewing and all that. A lot of good stuff that I got planned for the coming year. I'll circle back and talk about it some more when we get to uh, the final 2024 edition of the RCWR show. But a lot of good things definitely planned out. Meantime, my pretty babies, be kind. Rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. You can also use those same keywords, get at your man all throughout social media. Yeah, especially on that Blue Sky. Been picking up a couple of followers. Haven't hit double digits yet. For me, it's all about finding the right balance to post more frequently. So hopefully I'll be able to work out the kinks on that in the coming days. But yeah. Until next go around, my pretty babies. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go around. Adios, y'all. And take care.